this is Nyx, and today we are making the Avengers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as familiar with Marvel characters as I am with DC. Not saying that I am any more, familiar with them either, but as I've looked into DC characters more than Marvel. So, you must forgive me if I don't really have much to say about Marvel. But I am doing the Avengers. I think the Avengers had an animated series back in the day, like maybe I don't know if they had a series in the 90s or not, but I think they have a series. They had a series in the recent 2000s. I want to say. So we are starting with Bruce Banner, also known as the Hulk. I started with the Hulk because I was trying to get him. I was trying to figure out what to do to kind of have him transform between being a normal human and becoming the Hulk. So I figured the alien disguise would work, but the way that I have the alien disguise going is kind of weird because it seems like, the Hulk is his true form, while Bruce Banner is his alien disguise. But I'm like, well, it's his disguise or whatever, or it's a transformation. But I'm like, but it actually works out better this way when you think about it for the films, because when people see him as the Hulk, they'll probably gasp because alien form. I think the film gasp in that alien. Just a big old guy running towards you, a green dude running towards you, probably gasp at the very least. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I figured, it actually probably just works out a little bit better that way. Now, I'm not gonna say that I based them very closely on their cinematic versions, because I really didn't. I kind of just, went with whatever I had. Unfortunately, in his human form, he is a little thicker than I wanted to be, but it's like, with the alien thing, it kind of transfers over to weight. So it ain't quite like how I want it, but because I think in the comics and most versions of Avengers and anything with the Hulk, Bruce Banner as a human is very he's a very thin guy. He's a very thin guy, very very far from what you would think of when you see the Hulk. So, his human form ain't quite what I want it to be, but it'll be okay. And so I decided to work on Captain America. But as I was doing this series, as I was making these films, even though I know it was mentioned in the movies, but I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of males. So there's a lot of males as I was creating it. And I was like, because it was just the 5 males that was in the cinematic versions of the Avengers. It's a lot, because only Black Widow is the female. I mean, recently they've added Captain Marvel, and there's a lot of characters in the comics that will eventually become a part of the Avengers. But as far as the cinematic universe though, there's not any females. I guess and even in the comics, across both sides, there's not that many female superheroes. I could be wrong. Look, I could be wrong, but I just feel like I have to see it. Anyway, I know my Captain America doesn't look good. They don't really look like this at the end. You'll see the pictures of them together at the end, and you can see how I've kind of edited them to make them look a little bit better than some of them, because I didn't like the way Captain America was, and I kind of ended up editing him a little bit more. I don't even remember Captain America's like civilian name. Like, I don't even remember his civilian name from the comics. I'm sorry. And I like I said before, I'm very behind on like all of Marvel's stuff. Like, the last movie I saw in that universe was probably the Infinity Wars movie. I didn't see Endgame. I kind of already knew most of the people that didn't make it in there, because a lot of people had already said they didn't want to come back. So I just was like, oh yeah, that person ain't gonna make it through the movie. That person ain't gonna make it through. So it was pretty much the people I thought wasn't gonna make it didn't make it. But I still haven't seen it yet. Eventually I will sit down and watch it. I'll have to get my nice subscription to Disney Plus like everybody else in the world. I just haven't done that yet. But eventually I'll sit down and do that and go through all these gosh darn movies and shows. I'm so behind because I know Scarlet Witch had a show, which was interesting. I liked her in the comics actually. She was super interesting when I read up about her a little bit, because her powers are actually crazy. But then again, I feel like in both sides they make these magic users powers super insane, and then they have to like nerf them a little bit so they can actually be defeated or defeatable, or make an interesting comic. So they always wind up nerfing them after somebody has made their power just ridiculous. Like you know, Scarlet Witch powers in the comics was to be able to alter reality, which I think was kind of like what her series was about a little bit. I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't read about what it was about. I just know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, it was so great. So I'll definitely have to eventually watch it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I would love for another X-Men show to come back, like another X-Men animated series. I would love that. I would love to see, you know, how they're doing with recent animated, you know, how they're doing recently with the X-Men series. So Thor, sorry, I did not talk about Hawkeye. I don't know anything about Hawkeye. I feel bad for Hawkeye, I do. But with Thor, there is a CC creator. His name is Gali Haha. If I pronounced it incorrectly, I apologize, but I will definitely link them below, where he is currently working on a lot of the Avengers and other DC and other comic book characters and stuff. And he makes just straight up skins of their faces, so you can download it. Like my Chris Hemsworth Thor doesn't look that good, but you can definitely take the time to make him look more accurate to Chris Hemsworth. Or you can just download the file from Gali Haha. They definitely have a whole Chris Hemsworth thing that you can download from them to get him to look more accurate if you want him, if you want, you know, specifically Chris Hemsworth to be your Thor. I think they're currently working on Chris Evans, so you can get, eventually you'll be able to get him for Captain America. So I'll definitely link that down there below, but we are coming up to their final look. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I have links to all their CC below. There is much more Avengers CC out there if you would like to get that too. But like I said, I'll link all of my CC down below. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope y'all join me next time. I will definitely be doing more Marvel and DC characters in the future. You might have seen a Flash suit in there somewhere and some other stuff, maybe a Scarlet Witch costume. So I got a lot of stuff in there that I'll eventually, you know, get around to in the future. But thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you all are doing well. Until next time, bye.